In this video we're going to look at sample programs. Having started by looking at the standard setup, we can now look at some sample programs to see if they can help us to write our own programming language. In the top left corner, choose File, Open Sample Program. In the VEX2 folder, under Sample Programs, we have a load of subfolders here, which each contain files. Each of these files will help us to understand not only how to write programs, but also will give us files to test on our robot. In these folders we can sit and explore each one individually, but let's look at one that's useful to our static robot. Under Remote Control, we're going to look at the Clawbot single joystick control file. This is because our standard robot that we've built so far is a modification of the Clawbot, but all connections from motors to ports are exactly the same as the Clawbot. If we now look at this sample file open in front of us, at the top we can see an explanation of the connections. Port 1 is connected to the left motor, whilst port 10 is connected to the right motor. Port 6 and 7 both connect motors, one to the claw motor and one to the arm motor. In the green text we should see these notes. If we read these notes, they will explain in detail how the program file has been created for us. If we scroll down, we can actually see the programming language itself. Here is our main task. This denotes the body of language for our program. The while loop created here, 1 = 1, creates a true activity or a true event as long as something doesn't change. We can now understand individual lines of the program. Here, the left motor is connected to channel 2 and channel 1. The right motor is also connected to channel 2 and channel 1. The reason for this is that when driving a Clawbot, we've managed to assign both the left and the right motor to one channel. This means that from one joystick and from one dial we can control the robot's movement. If we scroll down lower, we can now start to understand the raising and the lowering of the arm for the Clawbot. Here it is clear in the notes, if the upper 5 button is pressed, then the arm will raise, and the number 127 denotes the speed of the motor. If channel 5 lower button is pressed, then the arm will lower, again at a speed of 127 RPM, the maximum that the motor can move. If neither the upper or lower button are pressed, then the arm will not move. It's the same for the claw. If we scroll down and view, if under channel 6 the upper button is pressed, then the claw will close. If we press the lower channel 6 button, then the gripper will open, but if neither are pressed, then nothing will happen. Each of these sample files is very interesting to explore, so if we go back into Open Sample Program and go back into VEX2, we will be able to find other simple files, for example Basic Movement. Basic Movement gives us some very simple files to test, for example moving forward. If we open this file, we will see that the motors here are different. They're assigned to ports 2 and 3, and so to make our physical robot move we would need to match this setup. But if we scroll down below, we will see that this program is much simpler. It has a wait command of 2 seconds or 2000 milliseconds. It then has for both the right motor and the left motor to move forward for a period of 3 seconds or 3000 milliseconds, and then the program ends. This program does not rely on the joystick to control the robot. This robot moves autonomously, and we will look later on at how the two program files are different. It's now time for you to explore all these programs and to see what works.